Well, happy Monday, everybody. It's Nancy Fox of Fractional Connections. It's Monday LinkedIn Live. So glad to be with you again. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Last week was a really crazy week for me. I was traveling. I hadn't traveled for about 4 or 5 months by air. And I traveled to Florida from California last week. And what an experience. It was really interesting. Um, Going there, I took the red eye, and it was in two legs. You can't get to Florida from LA anymore in one leg, so it was a two-leg process. And I thought, and sometimes you have to take two connections, but I was lucky to get only one connection. Trip out there was easy. The trip back was not so easy, but I didn't have any major delays. My flights weren't canceled, so I'm pretty grateful. And it was really good to be. It was really actually great to get out of my little cocoon, my little environment, and to experience another environment. So I'm glad to be back, and I'm very glad to be back with you. If you are with me live, will you do me a solid and just give me a wave? As you know, sometimes it takes a while for LinkedIn to connect in. But I'm streaming this from StreamYard, which is the way you have to do it for a LinkedIn Live. And where I'm crossing my fingers that LinkedIn's going to get really smart and start to adopt a really, and it's going to adopt a streaming service on their site, but we'll see. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about fractional executives and what's going on with that, and why so many really high power, top notch executives are leaving their C-suite jobs and starting fractional executive businesses. What's that all about? What's going on with that? And I'm going to tell you that one of the reasons I'm so excited about telling you about that is because we're at the tip of the iceberg of a major trend where we've seen that so much of the workforce has gone freelance, right? Major sites like Fiverr and Upwork and all of that, people are going, they are going freelance, but usually those kinds of roles are pretty much on the tactical side. They're on, people who are doing ghostwriting or copywriting or website development or graphic design or all different kinds of freelance work. So we're not talking that for most of those roles have nothing to do with C-suite leadership. Fractional executives, on the other hand, are a different caliber of people, different level of experience and expertise, different level of leadership ability. So it's really and I started to notice this in my networking activities. I was hearing more and more people talking to me about fractional. They were fractional this or fractional that. Hi, Steve. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. And so I started to ask myself, what's really going on here? And I investigated. I started speaking to a lot of people who are designating themselves as fractional executives. I started asking them a lot of questions about what was that, what did that really mean to them, why they were doing it, and why they were choosing that pathway instead of either looking for another job or starting a different kind of a business or calling themselves consultants. And I did some deep dive, real investigation about this. And I looked at it for a number of months. I started reading online. Wall Street Journal and other business publications were writing articles about something that's called the explosion of the white collar gig economy. And it was sort of fascinating to me. And what I realized was, shockingly, I had been a fractional executive myself. I was a chief. The title that I had was I was the chief learning and development officer for a major accounting firm. But basically, I was a fractional learning officer. And I was responsible for developing all of the training, all of the mentorship in the firm. I was doing it 3 days a week, and I was also coaching all of the professionals in the firm. and there were a lot of them. So I didn't know that this was a number of years ago, and we didn't have the term fractional back then. So this has really evolved and has opened up an entire population of people. And when I did a search through Sales Navigator, I found out that there are, just on LinkedIn alone, and I'm sure there are many, many, many thousands more, on LinkedIn alone, there are over 56,000 people who designate themselves as fractional leaders. That's pretty remarkable. 56,000. That's only the people who are designating themselves with the word fractional. Other people are calling themselves outsourced executives. Other people are calling themselves consultants. But the truth is that a fractional executive does have some real important distinctions. And here's what I learned. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that what it feels like as a fractional executive is very different than what it feels like as being a consultant. When you're a consultant, you're going in and you're analyzing a situation, you are assessing, you are standing back as an outsider looking in, and then you're making an evaluation and you're giving your recommendations, and then you are either being re-upped again to do more consulting, but you're not accountable to producing any results for that company. You're there to give input, advice, counsel, but you're not responsible, you're not accountable. A fractional executive is quite different. Fractional is somebody who's boots on the ground, leading people within organizations that they've been engaged by partial time. So they're basically a partial time chief sales officer, a partial time chief financial officer, a part-time chief HR officer, a partial time chief operating officer. And who's hiring these people? Who's engaging them on a partial time basis? Growing businesses. Businesses who are at the point of development where they need high-level talent to scale the business properly, successfully, rapidly, but they can't really quite afford the multi-six-figure ticket it's going to cost them to engage a full-time officer of the company. Because very often, if you're going to hire a chief marketing officer, it's going to cost you $150,000 or more, depending on the size of your company or the size of the business. It's going to take, if you're going to be hiring a chief operating officer, a chief sales officer. I mean, these are multi-six-figure positions plus all of the benefits and all of the perks that go along with a package, right? So it really is a very big ticket, and most growing entrepreneurial businesses who are at the point of scaling up and want to scale up, they can't quite manage that particular level of ticket. So what they tend to do is one of two things. One, they either don't hire anybody and try to fill in the role themselves and stretch themselves too thin, which we know is a really bad move, or they bring a lower level person in or try to develop them up and try to rush them through the development of what it's going to take to get that senior level expertise. That doesn't work either because they don't really have the expertise or the knowledge base yet to do it, but they're in training. So neither of those solutions actually give the company the ability to scale as quickly as they would if they hired a fractional executive. And that's why fractional executives are, why that whole field, why that whole industry is growing so much. And we have there's a lot more that's needed to have entrepreneurs know about fractional executives. And that's one of the reasons that we at Fractional Connections are going to be developing a major campaign to educate and bring awareness to the entrepreneurial world. We need that. So we need to do it as a community together. We'll be talking more about that in future sessions. But for today, I want to tell you about the 7. So as I was doing all of these interviews with fractional executives and learning more about what their journey has been like, what they're grappling with, what they've been wanting to learn more about, what they want to achieve. It's really fascinating for me because there's been such consistency. It was like a broken record. I kept hearing the same things over and over. So now I want to share with you exactly what I learned from interviewing hundreds of fractional executives. So it was so amazing to me that also what I learned is fractional executives who are leaping into independent life, where they're giving up that paycheck dependency, what I call paycheck prison. They are doing this for a number of reasons. And I'm going to share with you, but what was really fascinating to me is the priority of their reasons. Because if I had asked this question 5 years ago, the order of priority of these reasons would have been very, very different. I'll share about that in a minute. So the very first thing, number one reason that people are going fractional, I call it going fractional, is freedom. Fractionals want freedom. What do I mean by freedom? They want the freedom to work from wherever they want, however they want, and how much they want. They want freedom. They also want freedom to work on what they want. So freedom is at the very, very top of the list for people who choose to go fractional. The second reason that top-notch executives are leaving the boardroom in droves in favor of a fractional independent life is autonomy. They want to be the commander-in-chief of their futures, of their destiny. They don't want other people telling them how to create a career, how it should look, who they should work with, how they need to work. And what I've noticed is that a lot of times people have gotten to a point in their careers where things changed in their job, in their job. A new leader came in, a company was merged or sold, they had a new boss. And when they got this new boss, all of a sudden their autonomy was being eclipsed. And they were starting to be told what to do and how to do it. And they were feeling that all of a sudden that a good job was becoming not such a good job, and sometimes an intolerable job because of the person that they were working with and for. And that became a toxic situation. And because the caliber of talent that we're talking about, you guys are very experienced with great expertise and amazing pedigrees and amazing networks. You just had it up to here and you said, I want to be autonomous. I want to be in charge of my destiny. The third reason that people go fractional, which was really fascinating, is you guys told me that instead of working for one company, accomplishing one set of goals for that same company over and over and over became boring to you. And boredom was driving you crazy. And boredom was driving you crazy enough to take big action and create a new career in a new way for yourself. So what you were looking for, you told me over and over again, you told me about the V word. And the V word is that you're really looking for is variety. You really wanted variety. So you wanted to not just work for one company, you wanted to work for multiple companies and work on multiple projects because you had so much to bring to the party. And if you were working with your one company, they were putting borders around it. They were fencing you in. They were locking you into a lane, and you didn't like feeling stifled. That being stifled was pushing you out the door. You wanted variety. So freedom, autonomy, variety. The fourth reason, and notice it's fourth on the list. It's not top of the list, where 5 years ago it would have been top of the list. The fourth reason you were going fractional was financial prosperity, the ability to have unlimited earning potential. Now, money would have been at the top of the list a number of years ago, but today, all of you told me that it's not worth it to you for more money to work at a job that you are not happy with, that you were feeling pressure around, that you were feeling stifled by, that you were feeling that you were in a toxic environment, that you weren't enjoying yourself, that you were feeling limited, that you were feeling bored. So that is really, number 4 was money, not number 1. And that was such an aha for me, because in the past, people absolutely would not have made a leap if the money wasn't there. Now, most of you have told me, and by the way, you're all at different stages of your career. Some of you are at the very tail end of your career. You want to ride out into the sunset, just having fun, doing the great work that you want to do with the right clients, having an enjoyable time. And the you have money, and so you want to be paid for what you do, but it's not like you feel like you need to earn, as much as you wanted 2 years ago. Others of you are mid-level in your career, and you have really high expectations, and you want to be earning $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month and more. And that's another kind of fractional. and some of you are just starting out. So some of you are starting out, some of you are growing, and some of you are scaling up. You're at different stages, and that makes sense, but most of you put money forth on the list. The fifth item that you said that made it really, why you were leaving the boardroom in favor of your own, going independent, going paycheck free, but fractional forward, is you really wanted to be able to make a difference with your clients and see clearly that you were making this kind of a difference. You really wanted to be valued by clients. You wanted to be appreciated. And very often you were not feeling appreciated in your jobs. You might have been respected, but not appreciated, not feeling that rewarding feeling, that valued feeling, that feeling of feeling that this role was really fulfilling enough for you anymore. So making a difference was fifth on the list for you, and you were telling me that consistently. The sixth reason that you were leaving your jobs and going independent as a fractional was building relationships. You were feeling the yearning. And by the way, it makes total sense after 2.5 years of a pandemic where we were isolated and locked away. The yearning to have built real deep relationships with new people, with people who were up to something, with people who had fresh ideas, who were like-minded, who were learning-minded, who wanted to grow, that was pulling at you, pulling at your mind strings, pulling at your heartstrings, and it was really just pulling you in a new direction, willing to take some risks, willing to go in a new place. Relationships and the eagerness to network up and to network out and to network with like-minded people was really a calling card for you. And the seventh reason that you were going fractional and leaving your JOB, your safe little cocoon, in the JOB world, with all of your resources, you knew exactly what to do every time you get on a call or went into the office. It was like you could do your job with your hands tied behind your back because you knew it so well, is you wanted innovation and the opportunity to be creative. Because when you're working with new clients and growing clients and people who are growing in their business for the very first time, you could give them creative solutions and they were lapping them up, where in your old companies they were not. They were just keeping you stuck. They wanted same old. They really didn't want your innovative ideas. They didn't want you to color outside of the lines, as we say. They wanted you to keep going in the same direction, safe, not willing to try anything new, and you were feeling pretty stifled. So those are the 7 reasons: freedom, autonomy, variety, prosperity, unlimited financial prosperity. You wanted to definitely replace your income, but you didn't want to, it wasn't at the top of the list anymore. Making a difference, feeling that rewarding feeling, that fulfilling feeling. Relationships, new networking, new colleagues to collaborate with. Collaboration, community is what you're hungering for after being isolated for so long. And 7th was being able to have an opportunity to be innovative, creative, to use your mind in new ways, to give new solutions to the marketplace. And we know we need them, right? So those are the 7 reasons why you're going fractional. Now that I've shared with you why people have gone fractional, there are thousands of you who are doing this. And by the way, every week, new people are joining this field, this industry, this community. So it's growing every single week, every single month. More and more people are starting on this path. Now, in a future LinkedIn Live, I'm going to be talking to you about what it takes to be successful as a fractional, because it is a little different. Even though you are going to be on the ground with your clients, the onboarding process is critical. How to establish the right guidelines with your clients when you get them, how to get those clients. So many things go into being independent, and there is a learning curve. Some of you are being independent for the very, very first time in your careers, others not. But even so, we're living in a different environment today, a different world. So I'm going to be going over that in future sessions. Also in future sessions, I'm going to continue interviewing entrepreneurs who have learned about the fractional benefits, who have learned about fractional magic, and are going to be sharing their take on how they go about, why they hire fractional executives, and how they've gone about doing it. So you can have great references to this, and you'll have a learning about what really takes to be successful in attracting the right entrepreneurs. All right, I'm going to take a few minutes and look at your comments. Karen's here, Steve's here. Steve says, for myself, a key reason to go fractional is that I wanted to help others realize their goals and their aspirations. In my JOB, I enjoyed most the coaching and mentorship to help others find their joy and advance their career income position. I was fortunate to have some great training and mentors that built my skill, and I delivered for many years to many companies a great deal of revenue, nearly $5 billion. See what I mean about the caliber of people in the fractional world? How can you not be excited and passionate about fractional executives, right? I'm like, thank you, Steve, for sharing that. It's awesome. And Karen is saying, in the marketing space, a trend I've observed are agencies offering fractional CMO services as a way to charge more for strategy. But that model isn't really your definition or mine of a fractional CXO. Marketing agencies never have P&L accountabilities. Absolutely right. The difference of a fractional is having accountability at the bottom line. Thank you for creating that distinction, Karen. I appreciate that. You guys should network with each other, Karen and Steve. This is why we host monthly networking events for all of you guys. We host a monthly virtual speed networking event. Our next one is November 10th. I'm going to post the link, but it's fractionals.a/networking. Please join us. It is expressly for fractional executives who want to network with each other. It is also for people who are considering going fractional. If you're a consultant and you want to learn and what the distinctions are of going fractional, come and join us. And it's also for business leaders who want to meet you, who need to work with you, want to learn more about you, want to get connected with you, and definitely want to get familiar with what fractionals are all about, meet you and get to know you a little bit before they have discovery calls with you. So I'm so glad that you've been with me. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Thank you for joining me today. A lot of times other people have joined in this conversation. And I really can't see your comments on the StreamYard roster, but I know you're there because I catch your comments and your likes and all of that on the LinkedIn page. And one of these days, LinkedIn's going to smarten up and allow us to have a direct streaming ability. But for now, every Monday, I host a LinkedIn Live at 9 a.m. Pacific. If there are topics that you would love for me to cover that relate to going independent, going fractional, turning your consulting into a fractional expertise stream of revenue, if you want to learn about how to do VIP days as a fractional, if you want to learn how to get more discovery calls as a fractional, please let me know this because I would absolutely love to cover these topics in upcoming LinkedIn Lives. Hello, Renee. How are you? Thank you. You need to drop it. Appreciate the insight as you continue to offer. Yes, thank you for joining me. I know you're here. Thank you for sharing that you're here with me. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of my new followers so much. I take it very, very, I regard that as a privilege and an honor that you're following me. I am dedicated to providing great value for you every single week, and I post every single day except one day a week. So follow me if you haven't, connect with me if you haven't already. I'll see you next Monday. Everybody have a fantastic week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.